Hello, Jamie from Inky and Scrappy back with another Let's Start Stamping series, I believe number 26. So if you've missed the past ones, you can go back and check them out. There's a playlist on my channel with all of them on, so you can catch them all if you want, or pick and choose, you know, whatever suits your style. So we're gonna go with this sketch today. It's similar to last week's sketch. It just kind of moves it down a little bit. I will also show you a card that isn't Christmassy with it when we're all done, and it'll probably look a little bit different than we finished today. I also wanted to talk about different things that you can add if you don't have die cuts, or to make it faster, simpler, easy, you know, no coloring options, I guess. Not that we'll do that today, but I want to show you some of the options that are out there as well. So keep this in mind. That's kind of where we're going to go. I did pull out some stamp sets. I think I have an idea of what I'm going to go with today. It's probably going to be monotonal in those blues. So to start with, I'm bringing in Echo Park's paper pad, the 6x6 Mega Pad. So their Mega Pads have a little bit more paper in them. Of course, they have 48 sheets, but they also have coordinating colored cardstock in them. So if you don't have a lot to start with card-wise or card making-wise, these are a great option because they'll give you coordinating cardstock to go with your pattern paper. Plus it gives you a, you know, fairly good assortment. So it's probably what, double the size of a regular pack, because I think the regular ones are 24, but these ones include that coordinating colored, plain colored paper, which is really nice. The other thing to do if you're picking up, you know, if you're starting out and you're picking up 6x6 paper pads, don't forget about their ephemera packs. Now these came, I think, in probably like one of the grab bag kits that grab bags that I had gotten from Echo Park. And they're just, these ones are like I think they're called the ephemera packs, but they have a lot of options in them. So for this one here, we could always go like this, and we could cover up this with a rectangle or a circle or an oval and kind of use that as our cut shape in the background. They also have the little flag pieces. Granted, there's, I think, only one flag piece of each pattern in here, but you could definitely use that as a pattern to cut your other flags for, you know, the other side with an actual piece of pattern paper. But you can also, you know, there's lots of different options on here. You can switch the sides. You don't even need to add anything. You could definitely just do your pattern papers and then add that as your focal point, and you don't need to add anything else in there. You could add a little bit of glitter and call it done. And so this one, I think we're going to end up using this one today, just because it will kind of go with what I'm thinking for this one, but we'll see. And so, you know, you have a few frame options in there. There's definitely, you know, more options than I will ever get through, but just showing you that there's definitely some options. You know, for the one we did last week with the snowflake, there's like a snowflake in there. You can use that circle for your snowflake, those types of things. Some words, that one would be gorgeous all on its own. Throw some glossy accents over that globe and some glitter, perfect. So there are some options out there if you don't have a die cut machine that are a lot cheaper than investing in them. So if you get the coordinating ephemera packs, you can do a lot with those as well. And especially for Christmas cards, because we seem to need a lot of them, at least if you send them out. I'm horrible at getting things in the mail. So am I going to try this year? Yes, I'm going to try this year. I'm not promising you anything. Okay, so let's see. I've also kind of picked out some options. I was thinking with the blues, I could definitely go with the snowman. That would be cute. And instead of doing this shaped piece in the back and even the flag that's in there, I could just replace that with that little snow globe shape and do the little scene on the snow globe. Keep it super easy and simple. I don't know if it's easy and simple, but keep it kind of simpler in the respect of your layering of paper. This one would kind of work the same way, the Lawn Fawn snow globe scenes. So, or just bringing in and doing a little snowman on there would be really cute as well. I think I want to do the winter birds today. I had a lot of fun with the winter birds last year, so I think I'm going to bring these in again this year, just because there's lots of different bird options, and I thought it would be fun to do, instead of doing that strip there, I could definitely just bring in the branch, and then for this one here, instead of doing a circle, I could just do a nest on the branch and put the bird in it. and those types of things, kind of build from there. That's kind of where I think I'm going with this one. And for this piece here, I could just do, you know, the one that I showed you earlier. We'll see what I decide. I could definitely just do a piece of a little bit of a rectangle there and then clip the corners to round them if I wanted to. You know, using dies for my other one, I ended up going with just a shape die from Spellbinders and then a circle for my circle cutout. So those are all kind of options for you on this one. So I will snap a picture of this one and throw it up on my blog. So that's on the Let's Start Stamping series. Off on the side, if you're on mobile, just either I think there's a drop down menu that you can get to it. Otherwise, on the bottom, if you scroll all the way down, it'll say show website version, and then it'll be on the side, off onto the right hand side. I think it's on the top, so like towards the top, you know how to scroll for it. So that's the one that I think we're gonna go with today. So let's get started. I'm gonna semi-clean my mesk off. It's totally not clean today. It's kind of, yeah. So for my patterns, we could do a night scene with the black and the snowflake would be cute. I really love this pattern. It's probably one of my favorites in there. So I'm gonna do that one. We could definitely do just a solid. We could go with, you know, one of those for our sentiment, like for our strip in there. I want to do something fairly plain, so I think I'm going to go with, my branch is going to be brown. I'm just trying to decide how I want to, let's go with this one. I can get both of my pieces from this one, I think. If I wouldn't go solid, I would probably go with a tone-on-tone, fairly not busy pattern. Something like this would go good, or like this one. This one would be really pretty to go on there as well. The other one with the branch in mind, I would probably, I thought there was one like this one here. This one would be cute to do with the bird because of the branch. That would probably go fairly well. Ooh, now I don't know which one, because that one and that one. Let's do this one. I'll save my snowflakes for later, just because that'll go with this one on there, and then I can make it work. All right, so we have that one and that one. I can use, okay, paper cutter. How do you know that Jamie needs to clean her desk off? Everything keeps falling into the frame. One of these years, maybe. So this one I am going to cut down to 4 inches. And let's go the other way, because that's kind of looking, just how it tore out of the book, it's kind of got a jaggedy edge. So we'll go 4 inches by 5 1/4, and this will give me that really thin outline all the way around. Now this one's a really soft one, which is pretty, but I don't think I'll use that one. I think we'll go with the big and bold one on my bigger strip here. So my bigger strip, I'm going to cut to 1 inch by 4 1/4 inches. So 4 1/4 is going to go all the way across. Now I'm going to cheat this, because you know you have that side that has the hole in it, right? Well, for this one, let's see, I'm a little over, I'm going to have to cut it this way, just so I can get it. So I know I'm going to cover up part of that strip that's in the background. This way I don't know, conserving paper, I guess, not wasting paper. Now I'm trying to keep in mind that my image is kind of going to be, you know, over one side or into the center. So I just want to make sure that I don't have it right there. So I really want to make sure I keep it at least a 1/2 inch away from that side. But you could definitely just cut off a little chunk and a little chunk and make sure that it was in the middle where you want it. But I think we should be fine. I may have done this already on my other one that I did with this pattern. So I know I'm good. So we have this one, and now I think this one would be really cute for, but I don't think it's big enough. 2. It's just a little under 2. I have it as 2 by 2.5. 2.5. I mean, it's close, right? So we go 2 by 2.5. And let's bring in, see if I can find my corner. Punch quick. So one way to get, you know, that corner shape, just round those corners a little bit. It's going to give you a little bit different look than the straight rectangle look. And I really just want this one kind of as where my focal background is going to be, or my focal image is going to be on. So it's okay that it's not big enough, or, you know, it's not huge. My bird's not huge. It can kind of fly off of that. I just kind of want it to showcase where that focal image is. And I think we're doing the rest in stamps. So I'm going to set this off to the side. Now, if you didn't like the deep dark color there, you could definitely, you know, flip it and do the lighter, softer one. But I think I like that darker look. I might change my mind yet. We will see. But so for like this layout here, you could have definitely used this one in there and then not covered it up. But that one would work there. That size is very similar. You could go with the white side and just do some inking on it to make it, you know, do what you want. But you could definitely just throw that on top and call it good. So keep that in mind. All right, I'm gonna tuck these back in here so I don't lose them. All right, that off to the side. Stamp set. Now, you know, we have options. This is Lawn Fawn's Winter Birds stamp set. There's, I think, 2 add-ons. So they have this one, which is the Have a Floppy Holiday, or Happy Floppy Holiday. So you would definitely just get this one and find a branch in a different set, or make a branch, or just do it with that bird on there, and you don't need the bigger set if you don't have the bigger set. So don't feel like you need all of the sets. I need paper. So let's grab some Bristol Smooth here. I know I have a scrap laying around on my desk for this purpose, but I don't know where it is. So we'll grab this one. So for this one, I want to do, I think I want to go in. So kind of having your layout ready to go, you can definitely kind of come in here. As long as your stamp is clean, you can kind of come in here and lay it out. So I want this to go here. It's going to go over the top instead of under. And then if I have the bird nest, I can kind of throw that one on top of that. And let's see, I think this little guy here, he can be kind of flying off and away from that one there. I could put a sentiment here if I wanted to add a sentiment. And then for accents on my branch, I could definitely do those in a lighter and those. So I don't know if I'll use those, but let's stamp a few out and we'll color them. I think we're gonna go with watercolors today. I'm not feeling in an alcohol ink mood. I did yesterday, or on Saturday, like, you know, when I was making my craft roulette make, and I was just like not feeling the whole alcohol marker coloring thing. I don't know why, just wasn't in the mood. It's okay to not be in the mood to do something, right? Yeah. So this one, and I don't have the coordinating die set for this, so I am going to end up running it through my brother's Scan and Cut, so bear with me on that one. I will run away when I'm done here to go and do that. But let's see, here, we've got our 3 images here. Because I'm going to do watercolor, you could definitely do VersaFine Onyx Black ink and do some clear embossing powder to give yourself some little wells to work with. I'm just going to go with Lawn Fawn's Jet Black ink. It's also waterproof once it is dry, so you can watercolor with it. I'm going to stamp. I have probably a piece of glitter on that one. So if you ever find that you get like a funny line on your stamp, sometimes it's just because they're dirty. A lot of times glitter on mine and like loose glitter will cause issues. I've had hair get stuck to them. It's annoying, especially when I don't realize what's going on until like I've stamped it a few times. Going, what in the world? And then I realize it's operator error. It has nothing to do with the stamp. Oops. Little bird, go back on your spot. And then we're just going to stamp these ones in. I want to do that one in brown. So to save me time, I want to do this one in, do I want to do brown? I guess there's a really light brown. So let's do that one in. If I do it in, let's see here. I'm going to do that one in Vintage Photo Distress ink. Remember, distress inks aren't the greatest for stamping, so don't expect to get a great impression. Usually for this size stamp, they do okay. And I'm just going to do two. I did one darker, one lighter, just for some color contrast. And then for my little bow leaf here, because the ones on here are really dark in color, let's see if I can find. I'm going to go with the Stormy Sky in the Distress ink one. And here's hoping that the Brother Scan and Cut will pick up those images. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I end up hand cutting or tracing around with a pencil to get it to work properly. Okay, so we have our images. Let's move this one off. And I might end up, you know, adding more images after a while if it's not exactly what I want. So before we go too far here, let's go with Vintage Photo for my branch. Do I want a different color for my nest? I don't think so. I think well, I guess we could do a straw color in there. What color do we want? I want a minty color, and I don't know if I'm gonna cracked pistachio, but I don't think I have cracked pistachio in the minis. Oh, maybe I do. Let's try cracked pistachio. I think that's gonna give me that lighter color that's kind of on my sheet there, and that would have been pretty in that one too if I'd have had the dye for it. What color do I want my bird? Let's go with Faded Jeans for that one, and I'll bring in some Stormy Sky just in case. All right, I'm thinking we go that for that, and then that one for the berries in there. I like pulling colors from my pattern paper. It's gonna kind of, well, I could do the blue in there too. It's gonna kind of make it all just flow and go together well. It's kind of a cheat, really. Let's see here. I want probably a fairly fine tipped brush. Do I have my water jar here? Yes, I do. Does it got dirty water in it? Yes, it does. And, you know, let's bring in that Winsor & Newton iridescent watercolor medium. I'm just going to put a drop on there, and, you know, we'll see. I think I'm going to have to switch out the battery here. So I'm going to stop and get some clean water and switch out the battery, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got some clean water, and hopefully, you know, I'm zoomed in a little bit and I don't forget to zoom back out later. No promises. So usually when I start with watercolor, I start with my lighter tones first and kind of work from there. So I'm thinking, oh, I should have probably brought in a yellow for his beak, huh? Before I get too far here. Let's do dried marigold. It's a little orange, but we could definitely go with a brown beak too, I guess. We'll bring in some orange. But if you're limited on colors, don't feel like you need to add in another color. Watercolor, like just your regular watercolor palette would work really good too, like a Crayola one, you know, something cheap, whatever. It all works. So I'm gonna start with my orange here, just so it can kind of dry. And then I'll probably decide that it's not dark enough and bring it in a brown anyways. So the other thing with watercolor, if you're not using that VersaFine Onyx Black and clear embossing powder, is to kind of let it dry in between your layers. So you don't want wet on wet, because that's when you're going to get a lot more bleeding. If you don't want that look, then try not to go wet on wet with it. So usually I kind of let it dry a little bit if I want to get a little bit more of a shade variation. Add a little bit more water to your brush and you should be able to kind of pull out the color. You can let it dry, come back in and pick up some more color and add it to the outside if you're trying to get, you know, that shading in there or that darker tone, the shadow per se. Don't feel afraid to come in with a clean cloth and pick up some of that water. It'll also pick up some of that color and it'll help give you a lighter tone. So if that's something that you struggle with, don't feel like you can't, you know, delete and repeat. And I play with Distress inks all the time for watercoloring. It's my favorite just because they're very water reactive. So if you go outside the line and you want to clean it up, clean water, you know, water it down and then picking it up. Don't overwork it, just water it down a little bit, pick it up with a clean cloth, and you can usually erase a lot of it. You're not going to get all of it, but you're going to get a good majority of it. Okay, so that's, we'll start with the brown. So for my branch, I want it pretty dark in general, just because, you know, it's my branch. And I try to work wet on wet, so trying to keep that edge wet will help with, if you don't like the streaky look of watercolor. I don't mind the streaky look of watercolor, but I also have control issues. So if it's something that's, sometimes it bugs me, like on the image, oh, I don't want that look. Making sure that you're working wet to wet, it'll kind of alleviate that, I don't know what that look is, like the, I don't know, the watery, the watercolor look, I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to do a second layer on the bottom to kind of make it a little bit darker. And because this one's got, you know, it's a branch, so you want maybe a little bit darker here or underneath. Just kind of using that tip of your brush to kind of bring in and add some more shading. He's shady, man. The boys laugh at me when I name cats. So we have 3 little babies here. Well, they're not little. They're probably 5 months old. They're pretty small yet. And Bud's like, that one is just round. I'm like, yeah, that's why her name is Chunk. And he's like, Chunk? I'm like, yep, Chunk. And he's like, okay. And he's like, what are the other 2 names? So there's a gray one. The gray one will let me touch it. So it's just Shadow. It's skittish, but you know. So that one's Shadow because it's gray. And he's like, well, what's the black one? I'm like, Shade. And he's like, Shade? I'm like, yeah, because it's constantly throwing me shade. It won't let me get close to it. It's funny. It's a cute little thing, but yeah. So we have Oscar the Grouch, who's like the Springs kitten, and he's definitely an Oscar the Grouch. He doesn't let you touch him. So like, it must be the little gray cats for some odd reason. Even, yeah. Their mama, which is a black cat, is like overly friendly. She tries sneaking in my house all the time. and the garage and the shop. It's funny. Alright. I think we're good on that one. So I watered it down a little bit more for the nest. You could definitely come in and add some more, maybe some dark onto the side if you want. Keep in mind, once it's dry and you come in wet, you might get that, you know, it's a distressing. So if you don't know how distressings work, let me see if I can do it with, let's do it with the brown off to, or the blue off to the side here. So I'm just gonna put my blue there. I'm gonna let it dry. We'll come back to it in a little bit. So let's see. I'm gonna come in with the darker blue just because I have so much of it to do, and then we're gonna try that light blue on the face. I just know I'm gonna have to go really light with it. Oh, I didn't do anything shiny yet. Ooh. I had a whole lot of water sitting on my brush and it decided to come at me, bro. Well, before we have issues, I'm gonna go like this. Suck it up. Suck it up, Buttercup. Using a clean cloth is probably recommended. And I say that, you know, only because color transfer doesn't always work the greatest. Yeah. I obviously did not dry that off on the side of my water jug enough. I try not to color on the black line, especially when I'm getting close to another color that's already been colored. Trying to keep dry space in between them kind of helps to get them, keep them from mixing and or blending together. So let's go back here. I just want to add a little bit more detail onto the wings. Now this is when I talk about, so this is dry. I'm going to add a little bit more water to it, like just in that spot. And you're going to see how, I think I had ink on mine, so let's just do a push of water there. We'll see how it goes. I think his scarf needs to be sparkly. You know, since I had the sparkle out and then I forgot to use it. Ooh, it kind of ran into my wing. Don't mind me not following my own rules. Impatience is key. Oh, I mean patience is key. My impatience usually leads to whoopsies. Well, he's got one sparkly wing. We're good. So for my berries, I'm going to come in. Let's do this one. I need to water that one down a little bit more. And let's do my berry sparkly. He's going to end up with the sparkly face too. Now keep in mind these are done with distressing, so it may bleed into the color, and that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. Overall, they're just going to be there for filler if I choose to use them. So if they turn out horribly, yeah, it is what it is. Alright, let's try to go over here and get some not sparkly blue. Yeah, I have sparkle on my brush. It's yep. I guess it's going to be a she with sparkly face. She's got glitter on her face. She's ready for the holiday season. Now I'm going to come in with a clean spot just for her face here. I want to kind of lighten it up a little bit. And so pulling that ink off is going to make it lighter. So it gives it that tint of blue, but it doesn't give it a whole lot. Now, so if you see over here how it's kind of created like a line, and that's watercolor. That's kind of what watercolor is supposed to do. But if you don't like that look, that's how I say work wet on wet. So if you keep it wet, you'll have a more even flow of color on there, and you won't get those like splotches or those patches. But if you like that look, go for it. I love that look on backgrounds. And so if you don't have pattern paper, you could definitely just do a wash of color and kind of add color here and there and get that look to get like a splotchy look. So those are all options. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to run that through the Brother ScanNCut. So while that's, let me clean up my palette here and I will be right back. Okay, so I did say that it probably wasn't going to cut out the greatest. So those were my original ones. I re-stamped some in Faded Jeans and had those cut out as well. So let's, you know, put it together. So at this point we've got everything cut and ready to go. So it's just a matter of gluing it all down. You can definitely use double-sided tape runner for this if you prefer. I just, liquid glue is, I don't know, gives me a little bit more wiggle room. And, you know, cost effective. I think it's a little bit cheaper than all of the tape runner stuff. So then we have this one. Keep in mind to make sure that you are going to glue that, if you are using it like this, make sure that your circle is in the proper spot. Oh, I want to go up a little bit with this. So that my next layer is going to cover up that circle. So you could go this way, or you could go this way with this one. I think I'm going to go this way. I'll center it just a little bit more. I probably could have gone up with that one a little bit, but this will work. I go really thin with my glue. I don't like to do a whole lot of glue just because I don't want it to be... Some paper that are thinner, they kind of warp a little bit more, and especially if you use too much glue, you'll get warping. So if you see a lot of glue, or you have a lot of overage of glue or a warp, use a little less glue. Go a little bit lighter handed with your glue, and that might help. I usually rub the tip onto my actual cardstock or image so it's a thinner line, or you can spread it out with your finger if you prefer. If I go off the side with this one, I can cut that off. That might work. Yeah, let's go that way with this one. This gives me a little bit of space below if I want to stamp on it. You know, if you're doing more than one, a lot of times it's kind of fun to, you know, do your first one and then kind of go from there. So a lot of times I'll cut off the white line because I don't particularly care for my over image to have that white border. It's totally personal preference. You know, to each their own. And I'll probably just snip those off because it's not that big of a deal. Okay. And let's see, which way's my bird coming? My bird's coming in for a landing, so I'm going to put my nest over here a little bit. This way it kind of makes it look like it's one image. You might want to pop up that nest and then you could leave it and it's not a huge deal. I think I'm going to pop up my bird on this one. These are some really thin little squares. Probably like half the thickness of my normal ones from the Dollar Tree, I would say. I don't know, they're on my desk, so I'm going to use them. I'm just going to go there with that one. It doesn't have to be on that square, so don't feel you need to have it on there. Now, for my little branch pieces, these work well for like tucking behind here. or, you know, if you want branches coming out here, those types of things, you could definitely be making it carry the branch. Maybe you want it to look like it's, you know, decorating or building. Do I want that there? I think I'm just gonna go with some berries. I'm gonna peel that up just a teeny tiny bit. That's why I say sometimes it's better when you do more than one card, because then you, oh, I want that tucked in there, or, and you can kind of get a play on how your layers are gonna go. A lot of times when I do card class, it's easier to do the second card or the card for card class, because, you know, you're building it a second or third time, and so it's easier to kind of play with your layout a little bit more. Or I could go there with that one. I think we'll go up here with this one. And then, because I have a partial one, we could kind of make it look like it's carrying this one in. To add some more. There we go. So we have that done for the most part here. Let's do from our neck of the woods, or I could even fit seasoned tweetings on there. Let's do seasoned tweetings on there. Now for this one, I'm going to bring back in the stamp platform, because I'm doing it on my finished card front, like the rebel that I am. And so a lot of times if you do it in a stamp platform instead of freehand it, I a lot of times freehand it because, you know, I live and live dangerously. You can't get, you know, you can kind of maybe, but a lot of times I wreck it, and then I have to come in with a, especially because we're going over that second layer, so there's 2 layers of paper on one part and only 1 layer on the other. Double stamping at this point is just easier with the stamp positioner. So I'm going to use the VersaFine Onyx Black. It usually gives me the best impression the first time. And it looks good. I don't need to go in with another one. So there we go. You could definitely jazz this one up with maybe some snowflakes on there, or some little gems. I'm actually going to show you a couple more cards. I finished up that sheet of paper with some more images because, well, it makes sense to me to finish it, and, you know, I was going to show you how to use some of that ephemera. So, you know, feel free to pause the video if you want to kind of create some more with me and color some more images. A lot of times, especially for Christmas style makes, I like to color a whole bunch of images and then I will sit down to do cards with them. Because, you know, it's kind of a compartmental make sort of thing. I like the option to kind of play a little bit more with, you know, my layouts, and I don't like to do the same layout over and over and over again. It's just not my style, or I don't want to say my cup of tea, because I will do it. It's just not, I like having the option of switching things up. And so I might have the same images over and over and over again, but then my layouts end up being a little bit different on all of them. I think we're going to stick with the white on this one. So let's do, I'm going to stick with the same layout that I was using, and I'm just going to switch it up a little bit with my shape and go from there. So I just picked a different bird, 2 different birds, I think. I'm not sure where I'm going with these, but we'll see. So I just cut another sheet of paper down. This is a really nice layout for your 12 by 12s because it's 4, so you can get 6 panels out of each one. So keep that in mind if you are doing 12 by 12 sheets. Anytime you cut it down to 4, which will give you that nice little border all the way around, anytime you cut it down to 4, you can get 6 panels out of that 12 by 12 sheet, and it just, to me, it makes sense because you're getting way more bang for your buck, right? You're not wasting very much paper at all. Cut, and I would encourage you to cut your, so 5 1/4, so cut your 10.5 inch first, because then you'll have that longer strip of paper for flipping the other side to do this width, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So for this one, I just kind of took in, I actually really truthfully just kind of took my piece of paper and kind of went, it looks like there, and kind of made a little tick mark, and then I just cut it, and then I rounded the corners on this one. So it's actually the back side of the other one that I used. So just kind of using up that scrap a little bit. This one should cover up my white on that tag. So, you know, the tag is cute. I just didn't feel like I wanted to do, you know, that whole, I just didn't want the walking in a wonderland sentiment on there. So this way I can kind of use this as my focal piece. And we're going to come in with, I went with a dark blue on this one. And I'm going to go up a little bit further with this one, just so this is kind of going to sit more in the middle. I still missed one. I thought I got them all. Where did I say I was going with it? I don't remember. Now this one has that little tag piece on top, so if you want, you could definitely come in with some ribbon, some twine. Let's see, what do I have close at hand that will work well for this one? That's a little too light bluish. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so I might have twine and thread and all the things from eons past, right? Twine was a big thing for a while. Funky fibers were a big thing for a while. Waxy flax from, I think those are close to my heart, but I know you can get waxy flax in the jewelry aisle. There's, you know, all of those things. So yeah, I don't want to say I've kept everything, but I've kept everything. You know, it'll come back into style at some point in time. Do I want to do, this one's not going to be, it'd be kind of cute just to do that, huh? Let's go that way. So I'm just going to thread this through. Tie a little knot on top here. I want all my fibers to just kind of be free-flowing, fibery things. Something that the birds probably would pick up and make a mess out of. You know, as birds do. You could definitely go with a bow on this one if you wanted. I think I'm just going to go like, cut that one here. And let's see if I cut this one. There. I can probably sneak this one in and do another strand. I like to do the thinner, like I want to say this is probably just like yarn scraps or whatever. I don't buy full things of yarn because that's just insane, but somebody I know used to do, you know, the funky yarn things, and so I would just get maybe leftovers or whatever, or just sneak pieces like, ooh, that's a pretty yarn, so then I, you know, or we'd share yarns. All the good fun. So it doesn't have to be, you know, I just wanted to do something that'll be free and flowy, and, you know, if I hate it, I hate it later on. We'll find out. Oh, they just didn't want to, I see. They're like stuck into the, they're stuck. And then let's bring in my branch. And I just have this little guy. I didn't do any nests for these. Let's do, I think I'm going to pop it all up. So I'm going to build my branch first. Put this one here. use those scrappy pieces up that didn't cut maybe right, but it'll give me a little bit. Oh, I kind of like it that way. Do I want it hanging off the side? Because if I do it hanging off the side just a little bit, I think I'll do it just like this. Let's pop this up with, let's see, I should have, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I was looking for my little skinny strips that I'm not finding today. Okay, they're lost in the abyss. It's not the first time. They're on my desk somewhere. I don't know where. Okay. Oops. So I'm just gonna cut down those rectangle pieces and kind of squish them on there. That's off. And then let's do one more little piece across those. So as long as I go where they're all touching and not in open space, you won't see that piece, and you can do one strip instead of all individual pieces, if that makes sense. That's right, I was going this way with it, right? I think. Maybe, possibly. We'll go there, and then I can set my bird. I think we'll do them there. Do I want a sentiment? Should have I done my sentiment before? Let's see, what do I have that's little fit there? I could do tweet tweet or chirp or sending joy. Do from our neck of the woods to yours, but I'm gonna do this and do well, let's see, maybe this will work. Let's try it this way first. We might be able to do both. I could just split up Seasons Tweeties too, huh? I don't think it's gonna fit. Nope. Okay. I could do it on the top, I guess, but let's do this way. You can cut this apart if you want. I think I'm gonna go from our neck of whoop. Of course I didn't have it down, so my strings are going to get in the way here, so I'm gonna put those down there, those down there. So from our neck of, we're gonna go in with that VersaFine, and I'm just gonna do from our neck of in my ink here. The first one on this is always the easiest, and you don't have to worry about anything, you know, transferring, as long as your stamp was you mostly clean. Okay, so from our neck of, I will clean it, but it never gets like all the way clean. I mean, you know. All right, from our neck of the woods. I just want to block off so I don't have, you know, an oopsie there. Ah! lining up is hard. It shouldn't be this hard, but it usually is. Okay. And now I'm just going to go with that ink pad again, and I'm just going to carefully ink the woods. I think I like the placement on that one. I need to come in with this and make sure that I don't have any overage there. There we go. Ah, I had a fuzz on there. Oh well. Such is life. It's done now. Okay, from our neck of the woods, and then do I want to do to yours? Underneath there, over there, under there, over here. You can't fit it there anymore. I'm gonna have to come in with a, I guess I could go there with it. Right here. We'll go right down there. Here's hoping it doesn't look horrible. Oh, you know, remove that one. I'm going to come in with my white. Just kind of. You didn't see anything. See, I fixed it. White, jelly roll, 10. Fixes lots of things. Okay, so there I have that one. And of course you could add some snowflakes in there if you wanted to, or some gems. There's a little bit of glitter and shimmer and shine on that one. Alright, and for the last one. Alright, so I have, what do I have left for images? I did this little guy or girl, this one, and this one. We've got some berries, some twigs, this one and this one, and then let's see, we have some options here. So we could go big, because I'm going to go this way with it instead of up and down. So just switching your layout a little bit. That one's like really big, but you could definitely move this up and still make it work, right? If you really wanted to. I don't know if I want to, that one's kind of like really big. That one could work. I was kind of thinking this one would be fun. So let's go with this one and throw in, let's see here, do I have a big enough scrap of this? I could probably make it work. Let's see here. Where are my other scrappies? That one's got that on it. Where is, I'm gonna say I have that, this pattern would work, right? Let's go with this one. This one, I just need a little piece. Let's see. My square is about, I can go a 2-inch chunk here. Let's go 2 inches by 2 inches, and that should cover up that whole opening. Stay with me, don't fall. Okay. And I'm going to bring in a landscape style card instead of the portrait. I'm going to build right on here and hope for the best. My garbage wiggled on me. Okay. Put this one here. Whoops. Okay. So we got that one there. And then I took this piece. Keep in mind we're still going with that same layout design. I just extended it to make it a landscape instead of a portrait style card. So don't be afraid to rotate your sketch at all. So here. Now I want to come in with my branch and I kind of want to be sneaky about it, right? Because I want this to kind of go up and out of my image here. So I'm going to actually glue this part down first. I had some cutter issues. I probably should have trimmed that. Well, you know, I can still do that. The joy of watercolor and using the Brothers ScanNCut is your paper gets like warped. And so I try to tape down the whole thing like almost completely all the way around, but it's still, I ended up catching it because it almost chopped off one of my birds. And I stopped it and I moved stuff. And I had to cut out a couple of those because they just didn't. It got caught on one of them. Too many images on my little piece of paper. It happens. So I'm going to wait with this until almost the end. I want to build my scene first and kind of, that's going to be my backdrop, right? So I'm thinking if I throw this little birdie over here. I didn't need to put that much glue on there. And this little one. Little frames can be fun because you can kind of embellish around them. You don't have to keep it all in the frame, and I think that's, you know, something we're always like, I gotta keep it in the box, right? Be, you know, be a rebel and think outside the box, or in this case, the frame. So I'm gonna come in, add some glue, sneak this one in here. Maybe. And there wasn't glue there. I was gonna say, I kept touching glue. I thought I was good. No such dice. Okay. Now, well, maybe. I don't know how I missed that, but okay. Alright. Maybe we're good now. Maybe. I just didn't let it dry enough. Okay, so now I'm just going to come in here and add some glue around the outside on the back of my images. And then I can just stick this on here. Ooh, we're getting close to time. Okay. I caught the beep this time. That never happens. Okay. So I have all of my little images all in the little frame or out of the little frame or hanging into the little frame. All the things. And then we're going to pop this one down there. I also thought about bringing in the little Let It Snow or Sparkling Snow. That one's like spot on the same color. But you could definitely bring in that instead of doing a sentiment on this one. I think that's what we're going to do. Not that there's any snow, but you know. You could definitely pop up the whole panel here if you wanted to. Don't ask. I have hair somewhere in here. Here we go. Remember I said hair gets in the way? Yeah. All the time. Okay. So I'm going to pop this one here. I think we're going to do that let it snow up here, maybe. Or I would go in with a white, you know, I could do the Seasons Tweetings and do a white embossing powder, but you could even, oh, let's sneak that in right there. That would be cute. It kind of goes with that flag that we're not adding in there. And I think we can sneak it where it looks like it's, you know, extends, but it doesn't really. There we go. So there we have another one. Am I going to embellish them? I think this one needs some little snowflakes on it. Sorry, we got long-winded today, only because I decided to show you way more than one. I have some options here. So I have glistening snow confetti. I know I have clay confetti bits that are snowflakes somewhere, but these ones just are right here. So, you know, first come, first serve. And I'm just going to go with a few for starters. Where's my crystal katana? I mean, it has to look snowy, right? My biggest flaw. I never know when to stop with the embellishments. All of them. I want them all. Every last one. Extra. That's where I'm at. Alright. So I'm going to keep it to 3 groups of 3, I think. So this group of 3. But you can look at this group of 3, or this group of 3, or this group of 3, that group of 3, and that group. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there we go. So there's that one. I'll probably just finish the inside up with the, you know, have a floppy and a, you know, like Seasons Tweetings and a floppy New Year, or I'll take the other one from the other one. And then usually I do a little accent stamp on there. So we did 3 of them today. Let's grab the other 2 here. So of course our original, that's what we were going for. And you know, it looks pretty close to our card design that we had started. And then of course we did this one with the little tags, some little fuzzies on there, and then bringing in that bird and the twig. And then of course this one, that's definitely darker than the other ones, but it still has that same layout and or theme. Now I did promise you the one that I did. So if you've been watching the channel, I don't know, this one is supposed to go up before this video, but you'll see. I'm not sure if I'll get to it before Saturday. So this is the one that I did for Craft Roulette last week, and you know, kind of kept it super simple. So if you look at this one and this one, they're the same sketch, right? So totally different look on them, you know, for the most part. I did want to keep with that pattern paper in the background. I just think it adds a lot to it. This one I did the cutout and then the circle cutout, the pop out, and then I did do the flag banners on those. And then to add in for my sentiment, because I didn't know, it didn't have enough room on the other parts, I did it above and below, so it kind of gives you that line there. And then of course I went extra on the inside. So this is Lawn Fawn's new swivel surprise interactive that goes on the inside. So it's kind of a fun, you know, something fun on the inside. So a lot of times if I do something simple here, I might bump it up on the inside or not. But that was, you know, the inspiration for this week's layout definitely came from the front of this one. It's just kind of a fun addition. So don't feel that, you know, you have to use what I use. You can definitely add some of your own personality to it. So I hope you guys have an amazing one. Sorry this one got a little long. I'm really not sorry. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, bye.